Have been Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Moodhamate, Samprapte Sannihite Kale, Nahi Nahi Rakshati, Dukrunna Karani. Remember, recall, relive. Just we have to become aware of the real self. It is there. Remember, recall, relive. And the second line says, only in intellect, if we feed the information in the intellect, when we do not allow the mind to realize it, we continue to have an emotional dependence. And if we have an emotional dependence, the delusion will always be there. And if the delusion is there, that delusion can pick you up in your life at any point of time. And then we start suffering. This wonderful guy. And now divorce is so common thing, divorce. So divorce, almost 6-7 months. Now he's taking care of another new partner. So he booked for all the sessions and then he's not coming. So I said, why you are not coming? No, don't disturb me. I have to take care of my partner who has lot of mental issues. Then I will return back to your session. What I was doing before, I was doing the same thing. And I am doing the same thing now. I do not recognize that level of delusion. So I was a consumer with the first partner. So I did not meet my expectations. So I lifted all my expectations from one person and superimposed on the other. Did you get it? Are you getting it? And there is a continuous journey. Keep smiling, I'm just giving an example of the I don't like you, I hate you. How many times you have told? We are doing the same thing again and again and expecting a good result. It will never come. It will never change. So I have to take care of this crazy mind. Crazy mind. All the teachers, those who have really understood this entire journey of the Eastern wisdom, we always feel inside that take an example of mine, if I'm not able to make you understand, then internally I seek your forgiveness. But if you are changing, life is changing, behavior and attitude is changing, you are able to drop the delusion. All comes from the blessings of the masters and the knowledge of the Eastern West. Now I need not to, every day I need not to say that I'm seeking you. So we always try our best in every session that how to help our mind to understand this knowledge. In the moment you have that understanding, the delusion is gone. Delusion is gone, you are always in that state of the peace and happiness. That is how we contribute, even a little bit. We do not contribute through your money and other things, but it helps you to bring about a change in your behavior and attitude. The whole perspective of the life changes once the delusion is gone. One master says, such a beautiful statement made 3,000 years ago. We cannot afford let me rephrase it, we cannot afford without knowing. The human mind is always curious. It wants to acquire the knowledge of everything and anything. So here what the master is saying, what is the knowledge of the Eastern wisdom? Any knowledge at any point of time means awareness in your life. That is what the live-in moment is. Living from a moment to moment is. What is that? Any knowledge that promotes peace, happiness, love, and wisdom will get you rid of the delusion. So I have to see the way I think, the way I speak, and the way I act in my life. Wherever you go, in your relations, in your professions, in the mall, in the store, with your friends, even with your enemies. Never forget this. Keep in your mind. Knowledge that promotes peace, happiness, love, and wisdom is the real knowledge. And that knowledge which promotes attachment, reaction, emotional dependence, being fully busy, isn't it so simple? Say yes, it is very simple. I have understood it. So at the level of the intellect, we have understood, but it has not gone into the mind. Why it has not transformed my mind? Because of the emotional dependence. And that is why we have to listen and learn and continue listening and learning until we click. Oh, this knowledge is promoting peace and happiness. I'm done. Then awakening is not too far. But if any time today I heard, I understood for 1 hour, it promoted peace and happiness, and after an hour my mind goes back to the past impressions and it went into the delusion. We started the blame and complaining, reaction and anxiety and duality. It means the mind has yet to change. Can you just remember, never forget, I am thinking about you, in favor of you or against you. Is it promoting peace and happiness? In me. Forget the others. The way I am expressing, is it promoting peace and happiness? The way I am acting in my life, in my personal life, in my professional life, is it promoting peace and happiness? That is the only real knowledge. The rest knowledge are the fake knowledge. Can I say? It's the fake knowledge. You have a knowledge of the science, you have discovered, you have 10 patents, but the knowledge that is promoting an attachment, it results into delusion. Can you just remember this before I go to the next verse of this poem? Knowledge that promotes peace and happiness, love and the wisdom. 24/7 is the real knowledge. All else are either it causes the emotional dependence, but this good thing is also there. All else, the other knowledge gives me the skill sets. I should have a driving license, so a skill set of driving. So the rest of the knowledge gives me the skill sets. It can give me an expertise. But again, I have to dig deep inside what knowledge I have, what profession I am. Is the knowledge promoting peace and happiness, love and wisdom in my life? It is going to change my behavior and attitude. Can I give you some examples of Delusion. Even we are extremely intelligent. Can you tell me who claims that I am not intelligent? We all claim we are intelligent. Think for a while. Just even for a no, I'm intelligent. I'm understanding. So the master is pointing where our intellect is going and how it is putting us into the delusion. Unless we bring that knowledge down into our life. I like vodka, for example, I'm saying. No, I don't like it, I don't take it. I'm just giving. Then addicted to it. Then created an attachment. You know what mind thinks and demands from the God if I am addicted to it. Doctor says your liver is going to be damaged. Liver gets damaged by drinking? Yeah. That is what I heard. So when the person is in delusion, they pray to the God, why you have not given me 2 livers instead of 1 liver? This is the delusion. Now you have to find out why I said this. Easy to get the second partner. I'm relating. Do you see? This is what the delusion is. Knowledge that creates an attachment reaction is ignorance and delusion. I have to get rid of it. How long it takes me to become aware of it? I'm upset. I'm absolutely busy. I feel anxiety. It is only because of the delusion. There is no other reason. You have a knowledge of being upset, isn't it? You have knowledge of being absolutely busy. You have knowledge of reaction for one person and response for another person. And I lose that awareness because I am in a delusion. Master is saying, any knowledge that promotes peace and happiness, that promotes easiness, you are comfortable, you are at ease. When? All the time. Where? In all the locations. In what relationship? Or all the relationships. Tell me, won't you experience the sense of freedom? But if you don't recognize that delusion, I slept late at night, so I cannot attend the session. Find out if it is a delusion or not. I'm just giving an example. There are more important things to do in life than listening to your crazy talk. No, you have to find out whether it's a point of a delusion or not. Find the delusion in the knowledge and understanding that we have. This is why this poem is. The first line is very important. First, bhaj govindam, govindam bhaj. Recall, relive that, become aware of it. But the second line, it is being repeated, this line. What he says that samprapte sannahite kale nahi nahi rakshati dukrunna karane. So the simple English translation that I am in the delusion at any point of time. Death is uncertain, it may come, and I am in delusion. It is only because I do not become aware that the real knowledge is that knowledge which promotes peace and happiness. Simple. Which raises my awareness. Any knowledge that promotes attachment, reaction, emotional dependence is delusion. Delusion results into ignorance, and ignorance causes the suffering. How simple it is and how challenging in my life. I don't do it generally, but sometime I have to play the trick. I've already talked about in a group session with the Danish, so I'm going to talk about this, but I'm just giving it's a real story. Person A, person 2, and the person 3 who is a speaker before you. So the person A sent a long email, it may be about 3 to 4 pages, criticizing others, criticizing the person 2. They both are together. But before that, the person A sent a 2-liner email, the person 2, it does not understand. So I'm just dropping her from the session. I said, do it. Simple 1-liner, I said, do it. Person 2 wrote a long email, how the events took place, how the person 2 is so good, criticizing the other. Then I sent both the email that, is this email confidential or private? No, it's open, I can prove you. The other guy is so bad and good. It's a long email. I don't want to say all those words. So when they said, no, it's open, it is private. It's not private. I never do it, Don't worry. So I said, no, I have to play a game. Now person A is criticizing, they are responding to me. So I sent an email that I forwarded that email from person 1 to the person 2. What do you say about this? Person 2 wrote another nasty email, and it has been going on for about a week. After a week, all the excitement of criticizing others, blaming others stopped. Do you know ECG or EEG? Waves. You started with the delusion, it went into the peak, it went low, and again, what happened after a week? You reached to the same level of peace. Why you created such a ruckus? So I was constantly forwarding the email to each other. Are you getting it? Apply this in your life. Today you had some problem with your near and the dear ones. Pick up the point. Is this knowledge promoting peace? How should I respond? How should I think? How should I act? Be alert. Become alert. Don't allow the graph to go up in excitement, then you go down, then you go up, and at last you will forget this also. I can tell you. After a few weeks you forget. Don't you forget? After blaming someone for a couple of weeks, we forget. Why not from the beginning? So they thought that they will use me. But I just played a trick. I just forwarded the email with a simple line. What do you say about this? So first 5 or 6 emails, they were totally excited, they hesitated, they wanted to prove that how other guy is so bad. and they are living in that emotional dependence. They are living in that delusion. Are you getting it? And what is now? Everything is gone. I can give you millions of examples. Every statement, the way you think and speak and act in your life, you have to examine. You have to be alert. Knowledge, if it promotes peace and happiness, love and wisdom, finished. You are in mindfulness. You are in meditation. You need not to practice anything. You experience the sense of freedom. You are living from a moment to moment. This is what is living from a moment to moment. And this poem gives us, it is going to tell us how deeply we are suffering from this delusion in our life. So we have a problem with our partner, we have a problem with our kids, we have a problem with our friends, we have a problem with our neighbors. We have a problem with our situation. But the fact is that no situation, no person, no relation is chasing us for a problem. Does the situation comes and bites you? Tell me. No situation bites us. No situation causes any problem. I cannot see that situation objectively. What do you mean by seeing objectively? This mouse is different, separate from me. What is delusion? This mouse is me. That is the delusion. Are you getting it? I believe so. Case of vodka. God, you are crazy, you know. I like vodka, so you give me 2 livers. I like sweet. Give me 2 pancreas, yeah. And then we rationalize. We enter into a deeper level of the delusion. And then we disturb our sleep. We are upset throughout the day. Think of, my friends, think. You need not to believe anything in Eastern wisdom. That is the beauty. Eastern wisdom says knowledge, again I am repeating, never forget this. Whenever you are upset, remember this statement. Knowledge that promotes peace, happiness, love, truth and wisdom. What it means? Knowledge that promotes awareness. Knowledge that helps you to live consciously. Knowledge that helps you to live from a moment to moment. You see that, that guy is very crazy, I reacted, he made me upset. This is also a knowledge. Ask your mind, is the knowledge promoting peace and happiness? Simple. But will you be able to remember this all the time? As long as the impurity of the mind is there, you will forget it. So when these person 1 and 2, they exchanged the email, they wanted to prove how other is wrong. By proving how other is wrong, they are upset. But when I was, forwarding the email, they had to realize, they are human beings. They have to realize at one point. So maybe 6 or 7 emails, I said, who is going to read this long email? But I took their permission. They calmed down themselves. I cannot live in delusion. No human being can live in delusion. That is what the Western world talks about, the conscience. Have you heard about the conscience? Eastern wisdom gives us a clarity. Oh, we don't talk about the conscience. What happened to you after 5 days of uh, blaming and complaining and reacting and getting disturbed? Nothing. What is the ultimate result? Again, you are in peace. But they realized that I was tricking both of them. So sometimes we have to do this also. In rare cases. Think. Intellectual understanding. Can I rephrase it? Intellectual understanding will not help. Any average person can understand. Seeker's job is to bring that knowledge into a state of realization. That is the difference between a seeker and a non-seeker. Average person can understand. You can study the books, you can go through and you can get the knowledge, you can watch the YouTube, anything. Average person can understand. But a seeker is committed to translate that into life. So that is why still we are in the first. You can also think in an American way, focus on what truly matters. Living your purpose. That is how we think in that way. Or modern people think. Life is fleeting. So because the life is fleeting, we should focus our energy on that knowledge which promotes peace and happiness. No, wealth will promote peace and happiness at a physical level only. See that? So you are analyzing, you are becoming aware. So life is short. No amount of money, job titles, or degrees, or prestige, or recognition can help me promote peace. I get little bit of peace, You post something on the social media and instantly you get likes, you are happy. 10 likes, you are happy, and 1 dislike, you are unhappy. Look at it. Oh, that's why I'm not on social media. But you have a social media inside your head. You have to get rid of that. Don't tell me. I will take your intellect to at a deeper level. So we have a social media in our head. Neighbors, I don't want to talk. Look at it. Eastern wisdom goes very deep inside it. Live in the present, and be grateful. Just the best way, last thing, the best way, we will talk in detail further, best way that you don't become a consumer, you become a contributor, the delusion will not touch you. In what way I can contribute at this moment, in this relationship, at this time? I can tell you delusion will not touch you. Close your eyes. Eyes are closed, and being comfortable, You are being comfortable and carefree. We're going very deeper into these principles, my friend, by understanding this great text of poem. Hammer the delusion. So being great. So first step, Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. After doing the practice, you need to contemplate how this mantra is helping me to realize this statement that knowledge promotes peace and happiness. So what we did, Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. May there be happiness for all. You are against me, you don't follow me, you don't like me, still I have to think how the knowledge can promote. I have to live in that knowledge which promotes peace and happiness. So I will stop talking to you, I will keep a distance, but there is no reason I should be upset. You see the point of being in the delusion and not in the delusion? You don't know I have such a tough circumstances, you cannot understand. People say me. That is another part of delusion. That is why I give an example of the vodka. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Now you already understand that meaning. May there be peace for what you're doing. May there be peace for all. You are becoming a contributor. Consumer emotional dependence is there. My friends, remember this. You have to change that mindset. Just pay attention, and the knowledge unfolds in you. Sarvesham Puranam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Puranam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Puranam Bhavatu. May there be completeness in all. I am complete in myself. Others are also complete in themselves. We are all the children of one existence. That includes all the living species. And that existence is whole, so we are also the whole. I have to discover the leakages so that I experience the sense of incompleteness which causes me to get upset. You see, that is the way the contemplation works. Focus is one, how the knowledge can promote the peace and happiness in my life. If it promotes peace and happiness in my life, it will definitely going to promote peace and happiness in others' lives also. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. I give you another meaning. This is the real meaning of living from a moment to moment. I know Western authors have picked up this sentence from some master and they say, live from moment to moment. I'm angry. How can I live from a moment to moment? I'm upset with you. How can I live from a moment to moment unless I follow the entire journey? Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Look at it, how simple. But at the same time, if we are dictated by the deluded mind, nothing will work. And we will continue purifying the mind. Look deep inside the forehead. In the space, pick a point in the space and drop Om Shanti there. One thing, gently, not in a hurry, and start breathing. Quick and gentle breath into the chest through both the nostrils. Remember that expansion and contraction of the rib cage continues. Om Shanti continues. You are comfortable and steady. As far as the body is concerned, only movement into the rib cage, my friends. Continue. You are continuing the breathing, and at the same time you are recognizing the objections and reactions and the change in experiences. Continue. Continue. Just continue. Quick and short, gentle breath. Expansion and contraction of the chest continues. Shanti continues. Rhythmic breathing. Om Shanti is also rhythmic. And you, in fact, the mind enjoys that state, even the active state. We will understand why we are doing this breathing. There are other secrets also there. Continue. And stop it. Allow the breath to be normal. Pay attention on both the flow of the nostril, which one has a less flow. Pay attention there. Simultaneously, you are experiencing and recognizing the changes You also can recognize the resistance that you faced while the breathing. If you did not face, today's your mind is with 100% committed to the practice. That is how you have to analyze and record these impressions in your mind. One day you will discover that now living from a moment to moment is just a play and a fun. Looking deep inside, again the forehead in the space, Om Shanti. I told you that at an interval you have already understood, and start breathing from the belly. It is a little longer breath. You inhale into the belly, you exhale from the belly. So there is a movement, an expansion and squeezing of the belly instead of the ribs. Even the ribs moves a little bit. It's okay. Continue, my friends. Now see, the delusion can come at any time. How it comes? Through your mind. How it comes through the mind? By a thought. No, I don't feel like doing it. I feel exhausted. Is that a delusion or not? You have to check it. You have to find an answer for that. You are breathing into the belly. It is a longer breath than the rib cage breathing. You find there is no objection from the mind. Obviously, you are taking over the mind. And you already have the knowledge we discussed. It will descend down into the mind. That is going to change the behavior and attitude. So breathing is one part. But the knowledge is very important. Your mind will sometime object to the breathing, and that is where the resistance is there. So it's an indication something deeper is happening in the mind. So that's why it is preventing you to continue the journey. So we need not to get upset. We just endure and we keep on doing it. That is the way to do it. And now stop this. Allow the breath to be normal, paying attention on the flow of the breath, and simultaneously you are registering the experiences, the changes, and the resistance. So why you are adjusting? We need to have that memory that how many times when we do every day we find those resistances. This will give us an idea, yes, that I still have to purify the mind, or I have to move further. Everything is very clearly spelled out. And paying attention to that flow of the breath which has less flow, if both are equal, it's good. Enjoy that state. You will see that is, you experience, definitely you will experience the deeper level of the peace and the calmness if the flow is equal, or otherwise also. So again, looking inside the forehead, dropping Om Shanti deep inside the space, and this time you are combining the breath from the belly and the chest, long, deep, and the hissing breath. Means while inhaling, you expand your belly and the rib cage. While exhaling, you squeeze the belly and the rib cage. It's a bit challenging, but you keep on doing it. I'm waiting for when you share your experiences of this third type of the breathing. And then I will tell you this is what happens. You already know the way we are going into these sessions. It is your experience which you share helps you and the other to go deeper. Continue. Longer, deeper in the hissing sound. I am specifically pointing out the hissing sound for some reason. You have to explore that. And stop it, stop the breathing, allow the breath to be normal. Feel the flow of the breath through both the nostrils. Body remains in that state of the steadiness. You have already registered in your memory the resistance, if any, so that you see there should not be any resistance in next time you do it. That right memory is also required. And then at the same time you're paying attention to the flow of the nostril which has less. If both flow are equal, pay attention to the flow and then check your experience. You will find that you are already into a new level of awareness. And we should have I would say, ability, or you can understand it. We should have an ability to continue to pay attention on the flow of the nostril for a longer period. Everything will happen by itself. What do you mean? Revelations takes place. But we are entering into the next step that you already know. Visualize the triangle in the cave of your heart, pointing upward. Pointed awareness, moving the mind on each side of a triangle, dropping Om Shanti casually, clockwise and anti-clockwise. And when you discover there is a sync of movement of the mind, looking at the side of a triangle, and Om Shanti, means there is a sense of freedom, that limitedness is gone, and that is the right time to push the mind inside the cave of the heart, singing Om. Mind seemingly stops. Shanti and self-absorption, that we have already discussed many a times. So, you know how to enter into that kind of a self-absorption where the world is absent. But we are aware of the world, but I know what you know what I mean. A conscious self-absorption. Here also you can also find the resistance caused by the minds, either at the physical level, mental, emotional, or because of the past memories. So you can easily point out, you can be very objective. No issue if you become subjective. It's a journey. And now, Om Shanti, the japa on the 16 segments of your fingers. But you are already aware that it's the mind's eye, the mind's tongue, the mind's ear, the mind's touch working. What that means, I have already explained that. Om Shanti. And it's not a big deal that you start experiencing a tremendous vibes and sensations throughout the body. Tingling, numbness, freezing, vision in the colors. It is because those sense organs are inside. They are one-sided windows. So we engage them. Why? So the mind lives within. Why? Revelation to take place. Sometimes what happens, you are saying Om, and the mind gets more absorbed into the mantra. So Om may be very deeper because the mind has left the outer world. So maybe you may not be able to complete the entire 16 segments. But there may also be another reason, that because the mind picks up all the thoughts pertaining to the delusion, that is why you are not able to do it. So we have to be mindful. It's a deeper and a higher journey where, as a seeker, we have to be more responsible. Why? The transformation takes place as we hammer the delusion. The tone, the pitch, the length of the Om Shanti at present will also give you some idea and the hint how the mind is working. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes, open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences, bring the hands down. We will share our experiences, and if you have any question, most welcome. How are you, Stephen? In fact, I wanted to take up this session, wanted to expand that what Jerry discussed last time, but we will take it in the next session. How are you, Stephen?
Good. Thank you very much. And to me, it's putting everything in the proper perspective, and that proper perspective is important to always contemplate and reflect, and make sure that that perspective is always absent of the mind. And then the opposite side of this is, again, with contemplation reflection, is being able to realize what truly serves us towards that peace and happiness. And that understanding for me during your lesson really led into a very quiet and calm, peaceful meditation that when we got to the third breathing, the full breathing, I felt this wave of coldness that basically entered from here, went through my body, and as fast as it came through my body, it left my body, and it was just a sense of relaxation.
Beautiful. You have just explained in another way how the knowledge promotes peace and happiness. Another point that you are experiencing, we will talk in the following session. That's another part of the, not part, but another path of Kundalini, where we experience that wave just starts couple of inches above the forehead and it moves into the body. So all these things happens. That we will talk. Definitely beautiful. Thank you, Stephen. How are you, David and Jerry?
Thank you. Yeah, I thoroughly love the lesson or the preamble. Similar to Stephen, sort of a new tool for the toolbox is the knowledge aspect of it. And so similar to Stephen, that caused me to have very, very deep, very quiet, peaceful meditation with no active mind, no monkey mind.
No monkey mind. Great. You see, you have to understand it clearly. When the knowledge settles in my mind, that is aimed at promoting peace and happiness. How can you be into anxiety and duality and a conflict? There cannot be any delusion. They realize when some people say, I have an extreme headache, that's why I'm not attending this session. You have to explore that. Why? How? How are you, Jerry?
So I'm good, thank you. Yeah, it was very quiet, no distraction, peaceful, calm. Thank you.
Beautiful.
And fast.
When the mind settles in that knowledge which promotes peace and happiness, there is nothing in the world that can disturb. But intellectual understanding is one thing, but it has to settle in the mind. You see, there are two phases. Beautiful. That is what you said. How are you, Brandy?
Good. Good morning.
Good morning.
So I guess my application of the lesson came out during the meditation as letting go of resistance. So like I realized, especially when we started the breathing, that the mind was resisting it, right? For no reason, it just was.
Yes.
And so I was like, well, just don't resist it. And that kind of like you were saying, that was the settling of the understanding in the mind, that was my interpretation of it. And it's something, as we talk about this, it's like that simple, but it's not always that easy.
Yes, if we can endure that resistance, if we simply understand if there is a resistance, it may be because of my past impressions, and that has habituated my mind. So what I should do? No, I should continue to do it. I have to break that habit. And these habits and impressions are always present in the waking state, the moment we wake up in the morning until we retire to the bed. And then compare it with living from a moment to moment. So everything becomes clear. Beautiful way of narrating. How are you, Christina?
Thank you. Today, by the end of the practice, I felt almost floating and completely separate from my body.
Yeah. complete separate from the body. We are already separate from the body, but our mind, because of the delusions, has subjectified the body. Body is an object of awareness. So that's a deeper experience, obviously. So you see, that is what we are not imposing anything on the mind and the body. We are saying just see the things as it is. So body is an object. Can I extend to further? Body is an object, so mouse is an object. Mouse fell from my table and it broke. Body has to break one day, so so we are beyond the birth cycle of birth and the death. How are you, Dennis?
I'm fine, thank you. The meditation was deep, peaceful, and quiet. And what I noticed after the last round of breathing, the mind was it was registering the sensations, but it was not interpreting them.
Good.
Like I could not tell whether this something happened in the outer world was a sound or it was a feeling in the body. It was just like a sensation that had no assigned interpretation or had no meaning. That's something interesting I noticed.
You see that all of you have explained the same thing, but your expression are different. So why we share the experiences, so that you can have a better perspective of the same session, of the same principle. So what he is saying, that mind is not registering anything from the world outside. It is because of that level of awareness. Again, it boils down to the same thing. Knowledge that promotes peace, mind is running after that. Mind is not going anywhere. And that gives you a new level of awareness. How are you, Barbara?
I'm very good, thank you. I started off the meditation today feeling very tired, and in fact, I was afraid I was going to fall asleep. But as the meditation went on, it had the opposite effect on me. I became very alert and awake, but yet at peace at the same time.
Beautiful. You see that delusion, when I feel sleepy or mind returns with its old habit that I am tired, it is an old habit. And once you bypass that, you move into a new level of awareness. That's another way of interpretation. Beautiful, Barbara. Are you sure?
I am peace and calm, and nothing question is here.
No.
Thank you.
Yeah, good, very good. Peace and calm. And Sangeeta. Oh,
सर बहुत peaceful,
बहुत peaceful. Very good.
बहुत peaceful था। कुछ विचार जैसे आ रहे थे पर वो अननोटिस हो रहे थे, कुछ अब आ रहे थे और चले जा रहे थे।
Yeah.
और बहुत आनंद।
Yeah, that too also happens. The thought continues to come and we do not, mind does not pay any attention, because now they are objective to my mind. So when they are objective to my mind, that I am in peace and happiness. The thought of the craziness comes, yes, but I am objective to it. So what happens? Identify. When the thought becomes subjectified, then I am in stress, then I am tired, then you did this thing and I did this thing. I already explained you the email exchange. I never do it, mind it. So believe me, I never do it. But sometime I have to do it to educate others. That is all for today. Thank you very much. We will meet again in our next session.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste. Govindam, bhaj Govindam. Govindam bhaj mudhamate samprapte sannihite kale nahi nahi rakshati dukrunna karne. So simple translation is remember, recall, relive into that consciousness or real self. Remember, recall and relive. So the master is addressing, I'm not saying, master is addressing wise fool. Intellectual knowledge alone cannot save us from suffering. Intellectual knowledge. Every human being, can receive knowledge from anywhere by studying the books, by Google, Bing, from the teacher. The master is pointing out that mere intellectual knowledge cannot help me bring an end to the suffering. We know a lot of things. They are dangerous and harmful. That is our intellectual knowledge. I know if I become angry over you, it is not going to bring a good result. And then it's very easy for us to get upset, being angry, reacting, even to our kids. And they remember you when they become older. They remember you. And then they say, now is my time. It was your time and it is my time now. So that is the intellectual knowledge the master is pointing out. He is pointing another thing, appointed time, samprapte sannihite kale. Nothing but the knowledge of the real self can save me from the stress and the suffering. Otherwise, death is inevitable. And that is because that foolishness is caused by the delusion. There is another way to see that delusion in our life. We have a grand vision of life, isn't it? Tell me, who does not have a grand vision of life? Everyone. But what about my way of life? Vision of life and the lifestyle. There is a big gap between the two. Why there is a big gap? Because of the delusion. Because of the imagination. So if we do not match the two, we do not think, speak and act in a way that does not present the grand vision of life. Who does not have a vision that all my near and dear ones, we will live in a family with love and care, peace and happiness? Who doesn't have? Everyone has it. What about my lifestyle? What is lifestyle? The way I think, speak and act. So there is a big gap. Why there is a big gap? Because of the delusion. Think. We have to think a lot. So delusion is absence of discernment also that we have done. Delusion simply means that I lack a good sense. I act unwisely, imprudently, without thinking through the decisions. In my daily life, in my relationship, in my profession, at the store, that he's talking about that foolishness, he's talking about that delusion, and that delusion overpowers our lifestyle, the way we think, speak and act. So there is a big gap between the lifestyle and the vision of the life. I've been telling you, don't you have a grand vision that we will live in peace and happiness, love and care with anyone and everyone every day? but what the mind is cooking inside, I don't want to change. So I don't want to change, so I become impulsive and instinctive. And that is what the Master is reminding us. Remember, relive. Remember that I am the real self. So there are two parts, one is the foolishness. The foolish person lacks a good sense, acts unwisely, imprudently, and then the madness. Madness causes the impurity in our mind. It is irrational, uncontrolled in my behavior. So that is my lifestyle. So there is a big gap between the lifestyle and the vision of the life. What is the reason? Delusion. What is delusion? What appears true is not true. I have been saying it. So what happens by constant listening and learning these principles in a variety of ways helps open my mind so that the knowledge that I have received in the intellect starts descending into the mind. That is going to change my behavior and attitude. It will never happen if we see that, no, I have understood it. Normally we say that I have understood. No, I know, you need not to say. And the next moment we are irrational, we are impulsive, we are angry, we are agitated. So a constant level of awareness can be maintained when we treat this mind from different aspects, from variety of ways, so that this mind can remove that level of delusion. That is why this entire text is. So understanding also goes from the very first verse. There is another way to understand it. We forget to connect and contribute. We instantly become a consumer of the entire world, consumer of the person, near and the dear ones. My mindset is just become a consumer. We don't become a contributor. We don't connect with care, with love to anyone. And that happens because of delusion. Because that craving, that desire is seeking happiness outside. I told you that I receive a lot of emails and I see that which one to respond. So she sent an email that why it is so whenever there is a problem I always write to you, and whenever I am happy I forget. So I just told that there is still an element of being a consumer. You are still using me as a consumer. Think of that. She is very much mature. She has been with me for a couple of years and she has been evolving faster. So when you look at those subtle thoughts, subtle feelings, then only you can ask these questions. Is it not a big question? Think of this. I just sent a reply to her. So delusion creates a very subtle I-ness. No, I am happy, why to worry? I have a lot of money, why to worry? But we forget money is not going to buy me happiness. You see the very subtle level. We forget it. Today I am already happy, I have a lot of pleasure moments. Why to attend the session? Think of it. We have to reach to that highest level of awareness. Am I living into that state of awareness? Is the absence of delusion. If it is not, then the stress and suffering will enter from the back door, and it will cause a lot of issues again, and we will go back. We will suffer for a couple of days. Now I have a headache and I had a lot of problems, that's why I was not attending the session, and now I am relaxed and now I am attending the session. Remember, always think of it. Master is pointing out that vision of life is the goal and the way of life. If there is a gap between the two, you are already in anxiety. There is a storm present in your mind. It may blast at any time. It may be in your workplace, in your relations. It may happen anytime. So what I'm offering you, now see in a very simple way, what I'm offering you. So Master says that I'm simply offering you a big thought, a big idea, a big feeling. What that idea and a thought contains, it contains the knowledge to live devoid of the delusion. You see, it's not very subtle to understand at this stage. Eastern wisdom provides us a grand idea, a vision, the goal, and the way of life. You know what this is known as? That grand idea. What is that grand idea? Vision. That is known as the prayer and the worship. It is a cognitive ability. I told you, preaching is different from the teaching. Eastern wisdom offers the teaching by constant listening and learning, contemplation and reflection. And what is preaching? Go and pray to the God. I don't know what is God. I don't know what to pray. Understand it clearly. Prayer, worship, when we use this word for Eastern wisdom, it's a grand idea, it's a vision. It's a goal that connects me to the way of life. That is why we say Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Govindam, Bhaj Mudhamate. It is a recognition in the mind that the way of life can help realize my true nature. And what is that way of life? So gradually we are doing the practice, we are experiencing the changes. It turns out to be living in a moment. Just to say intellectually, no, I'm living in a moment. I'm angry, I'm living in a moment. I have a lot of stress, I'm living in a moment. That does not work. Think. You should challenge me if I'm wrong. In the morning I wake up, I had a lot of complaint and blame, so I'm also living in that moment. We are not dead. So we have to understand, we have to go a little deeper. So when we complete this text, you will recognize, oh, it is so easy to do it. So that is why a constant listening and learning followed by the contemplation and reflection is required on everyday life. Be very clear. Prayer, worship, and that also includes the meditation. It's a cognitive ability, it's a recognition. Intellect knows it. It's a recognition we push into the mind. This is the way of life you have to live. Every day is not the same. Every day the body does not remain the same. Every day everyone is not going to behave in the same way. But I have to live in the moment. I have to live in that moment. Why? Because I am a seeker. Every day I won't get an appreciation. Every day I won't get a praise. So when I'm seeking praise and appreciation every day, I'm a consumer. Instead, I become a contributor. You see, so that prayer and worship is a grand vision of the life. So Master is saying that if you don't recognize that grand vision of the life, you are foolish. It will not help you. It will put you in distress. What happens when we listen and learn over a length of time and repeat listening and learning, contemplating and reflecting? We are purifying the mind. We are purifying. What we talk in a 1 hour for a couple of, maybe 2 or 3 hours a week. Do we blame someone? Do we complain someone? Do we react? So your mind gets that grand vision in a different way. So that your mind, which has a lot of doubt, receives a conviction, and that helps you to raise your level of awareness. That is why listening and learning is very important. And that is why we say we have kept an idea that the real self alone is real. That is, means the pure consciousness alone is real. The rest is the false. What comes out in an American way, we can say focus on what truly matters. What truly matters, living in the present. Living in the present means that present moment is devoid of delusion. We have to think and contemplate and reflect, otherwise it will not. So the Master is giving a blow to our mind and intellect. He says in this verse that the death can come at any unexpected moment. Make the most of each day. Well, that is another meaning of the phrase. Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Govindam Bhaj Murdhamate, Sannahite San Kale. At any point of time, the death may come. And I am not in that moment that is devoid of delusion. There will be an extreme suffering in my life. So Master is also pointing out in this verse that we have to cultivate that sense of humility. Delusion gives you delusion strengthens your ego. Remember all, discernment and dispassion dissolves your ego. See another interpretation of it. You are in a delusion, there must be an ego. No, I told you, you did this, you are responsible for my suffering. Why don't you understand? Why don't you change your behavior? No, change your behavior first. In delusion, we talk erratic, irrational manner. We carry those impressions in our life. We stop talking to that person. I think you may be recalling those experiences which happened. And later on you repent. Oh, I should not have said this. That is another example of a delusion. Don't let passing Don't let life pass through the delusion. So we have introduced a grand idea. We repeat that grand idea consciously in our mind. That is known as the worship. That is known as the prayer. Prayer to the existence. Now you see you are free from religion. Whether you say you are a spiritual person or a religion. Spiritual person means this, what I just said. Normally, it has become a fashion, I'm not a religious, I'm a spiritual person. The fashion keeps you into the delusion. Whether your life has changed or not. The lifestyle has changed or not. So the master is pointing out the lifestyle must have changed. So what happens when the intellect has a clear vision of the life? The mind has to follow the lifestyle, and there is a big gap between the two. There is a big gap between the two. And it causes a delusion all the time. In my personal life, in my professional life, in my social life. So how to examine? Just you see that what is your grand vision of life? Peace and happiness? With anyone, with everyone, in all locations, at all places. But then now you're going to the store, you're upset. You're talking to your honey, you have a blame. You're talking to your son, you have a different attitude. Now you see the lifestyle. Lifestyle and a vision, they do not match. There is another way, that is the way. That is the recognition that you are living in a delusion. So if you don't recognize, what is the next step of the mind? Can you think of it? We start blaming and complaining the world. You just see that, how easy it is to recognize it. So blaming and complaining the world is what the impurity is of the mind, and that is caused by the delusion, that is the foolishness. So again introduce living in a moment. What will happen next day? I don't know. Next hour. Calm down. Remove the delusion. Let me see how can I contribute instead of becoming a consumer, and the life changes. At that very moment the life changes. You have a new level of awareness. You are in the moment of prayer and the gratitude. Again I am repeating, pay attention to it, that prayer and the worship is nothing but it's a grand vision that connects me to the existence, to the people, to the relationship, to my action. Because it connects me to that grand vision, that is why I am ready 5 minutes before that. Why shouldn't I respect it? That is why I don't feel that I am fully busy. That is why your mind reminds you, recalls you, are you ready? Did you check everything? Are you getting it? I believe so. Think of it. Whether you two are living in the same family, but you are ready. Ready with what? With being a contributor. How can you fight with anyone? How can you blame anyone? That is the meaning of living in a moment. That is the meaning of here. He says, recall, remember, and relive with that real self. Otherwise, we have an appointed time of the death. It can come any time. You will miss the opportunity. So now see that grand vision, and you have that idea and you are thinking in that grand way. Mind is already empty. Mind is relaxed and calm. and it is ready to respond the ups and downs of the life. Because the world is always in flux, the world is going to change. The body is going to change. We cannot remain healthy all the time, but now with that grand vision and awareness, I am ready to face if there is any challenges in the body. Then I have a headache, then I must attend the session. I received a couple of emails today. I have an extreme headache, that's why I'm not attending your session. Thank you very much. You will give more headache to the session. Better you did not attend this. No, I don't write it. So, what to say, How to respond to that? Think, my friend, we are becoming a seeker, higher level of a seeker. You have to live into that seeker. So the first verse I have repeated, and so that you remember all these points here. The first verse, first stanza of this poem says that living purposefully, goal of life, aligning with the lifestyle. So that means if I say focusing on the prayer and the worship, what is that prayer and worship? Focusing on that grand vision. Oh, I have to live in peace and happiness 24/7. In all the locations with everyone. Means what? No delusion, I am a contributor. So what happens if you are a contributor? You are already in a presence of humility. You have the inner wisdom, appreciating each day as a gift. So we are ready to make the most of our life every day, every moment. So we don't allow the delusion to enter in between the lifestyle and the vision that I have. Everyone has the same vision. No one sends you the message to get upset when you meet them, to be angry when you meet them. We have the same grand vision, and we only remain ourselves into that mode, and the mind pricks you into different situation, and we forget that. So we'll just, I'll just give you a brief of the second stanza and second verse. So you need to contemplate and think, and we will discuss in detail in our next session. He says, Moor jahihi dhana gam trishnam kurusad buddhim manasi with trishnam. So when I am a consumer, the moment I wake up in the morning, not only I have a desire to consume the world outside, but I will continue to live in the mode of a craving. And that craving makes me fully busy, makes me stressed. I forget the contemplation and the delusion takes over. So what happens? Yallabhase, what he says, may you contemplate at that moment. Do you contemplate? Do you introduce the grand vision in your mind? First, be content. First, be happy. Thank God and thank the existence that at least I am a human being. I have been gifted this. You are introducing in the back of your mind to help you to live in a particular moment. So first, no, let me see where is the truth, the way I am living here and now. Thank God. Thank the existence. Thank the existence that what you have, what you are, what you possess, and then makes the honest effort. No issue. We want to earn more money, let us earn more money. That's not an issue. But that more money does not have an element of craving guided by that I will be in peace and happiness, because if I earn more, that makes me fully busy. It disturbs my harmony in my life. That is the second stanza. We will take it in a deeper, detailed way in our next session. Close your eyes. Eyes are closed, and check that how easily you can be in comfort and carefree. Just find out how easy it is for you to be comfortable and being carefree. You already understood being comfortable and carefree, my friends. I need not to talk about it. So you are aware. That is another way to live in a moment. Minus delusion. And delusion, I know, attacks you through many ways. And now, Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. I can only say to the seeker that grand vision and the idea that the teacher introduces in the intellect of the mind to descend into the mind itself, from the intellect to the mind. Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. So our master says that, you cannot sing these mantras like a rap. Sometimes people, that is another delusion. Master is pointing out, that is another way of delusion. Don't do that. You have to sing the way I am singing. May there be happiness for all. May there be happiness for all is a recognition, is a cognition, minus delusion, to be a contributor. But I am seeking happiness for all because I am also, that includes me. So when you are repeating by repeat practice every day, the time comes, the mind cannot think the other way. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. May there be peace for all. So one day, or it might have already come into your head, even the mind brands a person as your enemy, you are still seeking the peace for him. Why? Because peace is our essential nature. Why? You keep your ego aside. Oh, let that enemy become my friend today. But why I am doing so? Because to change my mind, to change the delusion, to drop the delusion in my head. Whether the other is being benefited or not, but I am definitely getting benefited. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. May there be completeness in all. Completeness in all. Completeness, wholeness. If the existence is whole, complete, if we are created by the existence, we are also whole. Delusion makes me feel that I am incomplete. And delusion takes many shades and the colors. You see the very subtle level of the delusion. I see you are talking much better than me, and then I feel myself incomplete. You have more wealth than me, I feel incomplete. I can tell you millions of examples that crosses your mind. Oh, my boss doesn't know anything and I know. So that sense of completeness is nothing but the pure consciousness. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. May there be an auspiciousness for all. You know, you had a grand vision or idea or a thought through the mantra, and then you expand it. That expansion is nothing but the contemplation and reflection. I'm making it simple. Provided you do it every day in your life. Oh. When you do in your life, you go beyond the body physical consciousness. That is also a delusion. We will talk about it. And now is the time for our breathing practice to purify the mind. But we have added the mantra there. That helps us a great deal in keeping the mind withdrawn inside. So you're looking inside the forehead in the space, and that has become easy for you. Check that. And then you start breathing from the rib cage, short and the gentle breath, with expansion in the squeezing of the rib cage only. It is a short breath. And check out, there is no resistance. There is a recognition of Om Shanti. You are dropping deep inside the forehead in the space. The body doesn't move. It remains in the state of sensation, comfort and steadiness, and the breath continues. The body doesn't move except the region around the rib cage. You just enjoy that breathing. Means there is no resistance. And if there is a resistance, it is because the mind wants to follow the old lifestyle. But you have a grand vision, and that is already, you know it, so you endure it to realize that grand vision of the life. So that is why I discussed that should be an endurance. If there isn't resistance, there has to be an endurance, and you continue the journey. But sometimes you don't find any resistance. That too is wonderful. That is definitely a better state. Continue, quick, short, gentle breath into the rib cage. I have already discussed, I'm just repeating. Accept, recognize the changes. If there is a resistance, it is met by an endurance, but your breath, you don't stop the breathing. That is the meaning of the endurance. Why? Because we don't want the mind should take over me in the presence of the vision of life. It's a deeper aspect of the breathing practices. And stop it, pay attention to the flow of the breath. At the same time, we recognize the changes. We have also understood if there was any resistance during the practice. So it means if you are doing everyday practice, you will discover that now there is no more resistance. Or if there is a resistance, you can meet the resistance by endurance. That is a great success. You are bypassing that delusion. That will only happen if you are practicing regularly. But you are paying attention to the flow of the breath, and you already understood if there is any less flow of the breath, there you pay attention to check if the flow of the breath becomes equal, and you will definitely enjoy that state. So pay attention to understanding, resistance, recognition, endurance. With the second type, the breathing, you look inside the forehead in the space, drop Om Shanti and start the belly breathing. It's a longer breath, little hissing sound. You are aware of expansion and the squeezing of the belly with every inhalation and exhalation. You will also recognize the flow of the breath through both the nostrils seems to be equal. That is a wonderful state. Even in activity, your mind seems to be absorbed without any resistance. Is a much better state. You know how to bypass those resistance. That is when, or if there is any resistance, you can endure that. You keep on doing it. The intellect says the will is there. The will says, no, I will complete it. Come what may. In both the ways, we are benefited. Continue. Om Shanti continues. Belly breathing continues. Stillness and comfort continues. Any resistance you meet by? And stop it. Allow the breath to be normal. Pay attention to the flow of the breath. And if the flow of the breath in both the nostrils are equal, wonderful, be there. Just you are maintaining your awareness on the flow of the nostril. At the same time, in the background, you are aware of the resistance and recognition of the changes in your experiences. You may have a vision, the colors, and we let them come and let them go. Why? We are more concerned about the real self than these visions and the colors. They will definitely come. Sometimes it remains silence totally. So both the possibilities are there. You will also discover that in these belly breathing and the third breathing, both the nostrils almost have an equal flow. And because of that equal flow, your breath blows out, expulsion of the breath becomes very fast. Pay attention to that in the third breathing, looking inside the forehead. Om Shanti continues and start breathing both from the belly and the rib cage. Body remains still and comfortable. It is only your belly and the rib cage moves, not the entire body. Otherwise you will faint. You will experience the pain in the neck because of unruly movement of the head. So pay attention to that also. Continue inhaling and exhaling, expanding your belly and the rib cage, squeezing the belly and the rib cage. You're also aware of the breath and its rhythm. And stop this. Allow the breath to be normal. You already know. Bring your awareness at the tip of the nose. Check the flow of the nostril, and both the flow are equal. That is also good. If it is not equal, pay attention to the flow of the nostril which is less than the other. And you will discover that within few seconds the flow becomes equal. It is because of the result of the three types of the breathing. Your awareness, mind is withdrawn inside, and minus the delusion. You can pick up this step during the day also, even for 5 minutes, just to check the flow of the nostril. Say for example, you're anxious and awfully busy and have unnecessary and unwelcome thoughts. So you simply pay attention to that flow of the nostril. Which flow is less, you pay more attention there for a couple of minutes and see what happens. Share your experiences. So you're just paying attention to the flow. That flow of the nostrils, equal flow, both the nostrils, is nothing but equivalent to what we do with the triangle. Experiences are different, but the state of awareness or the consciousness is the same. Looking inside the cave of your heart, visualize the equilateral triangle pointing upward. Om Shanti, moving the mind on each side of a triangle. You may be aware of the flow of the nostril at that time. And when you find the sync, the moment you see this sync, move the mind, singing mentally, push the mind inside the triangle into the cave of the heart, you will see the mind seemingly stops. Shanti. So our goal by the triangle is to just have a state of self-absorption, but I am aware of it. Oh, so in that state of self-absorption, thought will not come. Thought will be very far from me. They do not disturb me. It doesn't mean that I become unconscious in the state of self-absorption. Beautiful. Continue. And now, Om Shanti on the 16 segments of a finger. Instantly, you will discover a lot of sensation on those segments, or there is one uniform energy flow. We also experience the energy flow from the lower to the higher centers of the spine, even when you are not focusing there. Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift your both your palms, place it on your eyes, open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences, bring the hands down. We'll share our experiences, and if you have any question, you can put that question. How are you, David and Jerry?
Thank you, sir. I would say that practice for me early on was a practice of endurance and eliminating the delusion. And by really focusing on the endurance, I was able to get, by the end of it, at such a deep meditative space that when you started the chant at the end, I actually was startled. So it was a interesting practice in the beginning, but it very quickly got to a very deep space. Thank you.
Wonderful. That is what happens, because once you recognized all the delusion are gone, we are already there. In the presence of the delusion, we don't recognize that we are the real self. Beautiful. How are you, Jerry?
Sir, I'm good, thank you. Sir, the meditation was smooth, no resistance, breathing was easy. The mind loves this text. The mind believes that we already have everything we need. So when death and loss happens, we have the endurance to be with that. And when relationships change or there's not harmony, we have the endurance to see what can we do to contribute and bring light to that situation. So the mind just loves this text. Thank you.
Beautiful. Yeah. The moment we have a delusion, then we are definitely in a form of anxiety or a duality or a conflict. So we bring in the endurance. So we recognize, oh, there is a delusion. We recognize. Then only we start living in a moment. Otherwise, simply saying will not work. Beautifully said. How are you? Beautifully said, Jerry. How are you, Stephen?
Good, thank you. Thank you very much. I'll just say I was just completely self-absorbed from the moment I closed my eyes, and there was nothing in between, just an even flow. And similar to David, I was startled when you started chanting. I couldn't believe it was over already. So it was great.
Beautiful, yeah, that's a beautiful experience, because we lost interest in the world. We did not lose the awareness of the external world. Pay attention to it. Why we are interested in the world? Because it gives me peace and happiness. So that is why we get started. Oh, the same word came again. I have to live in a moment. Finished. How are you, Dennis?
I'm good, thank you. I appreciate the talk because I was always wondering why there are so many prayers and praising various gods in Vedas and Upanishads in the Hindu tradition, and now I'm getting this understanding why, what for, and what is the reason. So I'm grateful for this explanation of what the prayer is, what it means in the Eastern wisdom. As far as the practice, it was deep, absorbed, almost thoughtless. At one point, I felt kind of a detachment from the body, from the during the japa when I was looking at the hand, it was like, oh, what kind of hand it is, whose hand it is.
Good.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, good hand. That's a beautiful. Not only in Hindu and these Upanishads, but also if you take our Father in heaven, so that heaven is a grand vision. As such, there is no heaven. So heaven is within me. Holy be your name. So again, it represents the wholeness. So if you look from that perspective, then all religions are mine. All religions are mine. See that? That vision is what the Eastern wisdom is. How are you, Brandy?
Good, thanks. The meditation was really deep and relaxing, and I didn't have any resistance or any problems.
Very beautiful, beautiful. You should have no problem this week. Only this week. Because how are you, Christina?
Thank you. Today I noticed the least amount of resistance that I have ever since I've,
Good.
started the practices. And I do have a question. I think it gets back to what Jory was asking a couple weeks ago, and I've been sitting with it and I don't have the answer. When someone in our life engages in blaming and complaining often as their, regular expression, how do we respond to that from a place of contributing?
How you take their blame and response, which center in you accepts that blame and reaction. What is that center? That is the center of delusion. Are you getting it? If I blame you, in what way you react or respond? So if you are reacting to my blaming you, is the center of delusion, is the center of ego, is the center of likes and dislikes, is the center of projection. You have expected that someone is blaming you is right, so I have to rebut it. Now the center of delusion is not there. You said, okay, what else you want me to say? That is one response. We are going into deeper aspect. One aspect is, okay, you are blaming me, I accept all the blame. What is next? I accept with all humility. What is next? Can we still remain friend? And see the face of those people. That is only one aspect. We are going there. That will take some time. How are you? How are you, Samir?
Sir, my mind was little bit struck on some thoughts before the session. After listening to what you said, and after meditation, the thoughts started diluting, and now I am totally relaxed.
Good.
Free. Some things which I was thinking, I forgot that only.
Yeah, that's good. So sometimes those thought comes and it blocks my vision of grand vision of what we are following the path. And if we forget, that's better. The same way we should forget the blame and complain. Christina. I am blaming you and I say, for example, you are crazy and you get upset. So you have already proved that you are crazy. So it is coming from the center of delusion. So am I aware of that moment? And then you need not to ask me, you will find the solution. How you have to respond. You know. Now your response is, so it is always in the form of your contributing. and that brings the other in harmony also. How are you, Ashok?
Namaste, sir.
Namaste, sir.
I am good and fine. And air flow from the nostrils was good.
Good.
It was, you can say
Equal.
it was rhythmic.
Ah.
Rhythmic. And I want to ask you one question. Ki after that, after the, we should think forward about the what will happen after this, or we should remain at that state and wait for something to happen.
I would say the last one. You wait something to happen, but don't create an imagination.
Okay. So we have to be live in present only.
Yeah.
We should not
Yes,
live forward. We
yes,
should not
yes.
see what will happen, what will
Yeah.
not happen. We should live in present only.
Yeah,
Like a drop is merging into the ocean, we can say.
Yeah.
that.
You have to remain aware of the equal flow of the breath for an extended period of the time without any resistance. Then what is going to happen? Then what existence has already desired for you will happen. So we do not create any vision and imagination. We leave it to the existence. We leave it to the God. Here, another way to that.
Okay, like जैसे होता है ना सर, स्टोन को मारते हैं तो आग चिंगारी डेवलप हो जाती है.
No.
We are doing something,
No,
so
no.
something will happen, but we should not think about that.
No, we should not. So what is going to happen? Our past impression, we have millions of impressions we have created. So they will they will resurface, they will cause some anxiety. We are still maintaining that level of awareness, and it will go. Then it will bring the deeper state of the peace. So we are not only releasing, we are also transforming.
Okay.
How are you, Vaibhav?
Thank you, sir. Sir, I'm good. In the practice, I was able to see that the resistance is coming and how can I move forward. And by the end, it was smooth. And while I was doing this Om Shanti at the end, my left hand was twitching. So
Yeah.
it was giving some twitching, and by the end, after that, the practice was there.
Yes, I can say that now the practice is going into a deeper phase. We not only experience it, understand that. Sometimes we may experience the twitching, sometimes we experience the influx of millions of the thoughts, and we say where we are, leave everything, a kind of frustration. These are coming from our past impressions. So let them come, we endure it and let them go. And then we will enter into a new and higher level of awareness. I will explain that aspect in deeper in the following sessions. Yes, if you are ready to speak, you can say. Terry.
At one point during the breathing, and then again at the during the next phase of the breathing, I felt like an incredible dropping, like I was just dropping.
Yeah.
Falling,
yeah.
Yeah. Just for a second, but it was good. It was a good, I experienced it as a good feeling.
Good feeling. If you can do...
It wasn't frightening or anything.
Yeah, if you can do, anyone can do. Medical science, may say something different, but you have already reached to that level of will by which you have been doing, and you feel that state of calmness. It is definitely good. Wonderful. That is all for today. We will meet in the next session. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sir, thank you.